Hello everyone, happy Easter weekend to you. You're watching Massey United Insurance's Line and Length. I'm Barry Wilkinson. It's a cricket program where we look at the sport, not only the region, but internationally as well. What a program we have for you on this lovely Easter weekend. We're going to look back at the World Cup, the ICC Cricket World Cup, won by the Australians, but was it a match that was deserving of a grand finale for the Aussies? New Zealand certainly letting us down. On the program today to review that match, we have Tony Cozier, who's covered almost every Cricket World Cup there is. We're also going to look at the start of the Pepsi IPL. Starts, of course, on Sportsmax, Digicel Sportsmax on Wednesday the 8th. And then we also have a little look at Fidel Edwards, who is now going to play county cricket as he's accepted a co-pack deal. All this and more to come in the next half an hour on Massey United Insurance's Line and Length.
Across the Caribbean, more people are placing their trust in Massey United Insurance for the protection of the things that are important to them, their homes, businesses, and their prized possessions. That's because Massey United Insurance offers excellent general insurance coverage to help you manage whatever life sends your way. Our cadre of well-reputed agencies and trained insurance professionals are always ready to provide you with sound advice and prompt service. Choose the security and sound strength that is Massey United Insurance.
So we're back on the program. It's been a week now that we saw the World Cup final won by the Australians in an anticlimactic game against New Zealand at the MCG. With me is Tony Cozier and of course our co-host Andrew Seeley. First of all, gentlemen, Tony, guess first. Did it surprise you the manner in which that final was played and won by the Aussies?
I wasn't surprised that the Australians had won. I mean, they're superior to all the other teams in the competition in every regard. If you look back, look West Indies when they won it, 1979, 1975, even when they got beaten in 83, up until the final. You compare the Australian team with this one, with that one, and the Australians depended on 4 fast bowlers. Hazelwood, big, tall, right-arm fast bowler. They had 2 left-armers in Johnson and Stark, who were capable of 90 miles an hour, just above. Then you had Faulkner. Okay, equate them with Roberts, Holding, Croft, Garner. 4 fast bowlers. And that's what wins matches. You know, all the other teams are making 300 and odd and against other opposition. But the Australians, you know, they with that attack, they didn't even need a spinner. They brought in Matthews, and of course spinners with that, like how Richards used to do, you know, they pick up the scraps. But you know, they're really strong, and the batting, of course, is also, and the aggression and the fielding and the fitness.
Complete team.
In every regard.
There's another Andrew, well-known commentator, who says that teams continue to devalue bowling. Mr. Seeley, from what Tony is saying, the Australians certainly value their bowling, but they also have great all-round ability, which could have been perhaps the surprise package of that World Cup final and the tournament generally for them.
Well, you can say that, and development bowling is probably correct, the other Andrew that is. 4 fast bowlers, as Tony mentioned, plus a Shane Watson and a Glenn Maxwell to also provide the backup bowling, but clearly with 4 prime bowlers, meaning that initially, whichever team they faced, initially you were under pressure because one of those 4 bowlers was going to take wickets early. And as was proven in this World Cup, once you take wickets early, the game is virtually shut down.
No, Tony, you know, New Zealand had the luxury of playing all of their games at home. Some people believe that backfired against them.
I don't think it was a luxury, really. You know, they should have had a couple of matches in Australia.
At least a couple of matches in Australia.
And the first match they go to Australia is the final.
And also in front, Tony, of 92,000 people.
Well,
whereas the grounds that they were playing
was very small, right?
45 in
maximum.
No, I say that to say, did you think that how Brendan McCullum, the captain, approached the innings of, I didn't say anything wrong with winning the toss and with batting or winning the toss, but did you think he approached his innings or approached building a target in the correct way? Do you think it was a bit reckless?
Well, let's go back to the earlier matches, and like the Australians, the New Zealanders came out full of aggression in every match. 3 slips, sometimes 2 gullies, leg slip, very imaginative captaincy from McCullum and from Clark, which you didn't see from the other teams. You didn't see that kind of field setting. A new batsman comes in, there's a close fielder in. I mean, that's a mindset which is beyond so many of the other teams, not least the West Indies. And when he came into that final, he went too early because he just really ambushed the Australians with a 50 off 24 balls in the match which they beat Australia by 1 wicket in Auckland. But then he came out and he would have to have known that the Australians wouldn't be ambushed again, that they were ready for him. They'd studied him and all that. And it was reckless. It was reckless. But for McCullum, you would say probably not, because that's the way that's his cricket.
You thought so, Andrew?
Well, I'm not sure I want to agree with Tony on this one. I think McCullum figured, this is how I've won the games previously. I'm going to do it again. He probably didn't figure on Stark and Johnson or whoever. But I think the point is, he figures that this has worked for 7 games in a row, 8 games in a row, so I'm going to do it again. We would probably be discussing something totally different now if it had come off.
Well, in the previous...
It's never going to come off. Not against South Africa.
Well,
right.
There you go.
Yeah.
In the previous 2 matches, Guptill has been the go-to man for New Zealand. Got that 237, and he batted quite well in that semi-final. But he looked a bit unsure as to what role he was playing, if he was to attack, or if he was to be defensive, or if he was to bat normal. He bats a bit like Chris Gayle in the sense he doesn't move his feet, Guptill. But he did not look the genuine article in against that attack that we saw in that final.
Well, they didn't get him out. And, you had McCullum going, then you had Williamson. So they're shaky. And then Clark brings on the spinner out of nowhere. I mean, you've got 2 early wickets and you bring on a spinner.
And Glenn Maxwell at
second ball. Guptill goes back to cut.
But again, as you mentioned, Tony, it's called imagination. And just when you don't expect it to happen, and remember what New Zealand did back in the day with Patel opening the ball, and so it was totally unexpected. And I think New Zealand just what to do next. And I think Guptill's problem, Barry, was that he had not been put in charge previously. McCullum had taken the attack and taken away the game virtually and left it for Guptill, and now it was thrust on him to take charge, and he wasn't sure how to take charge.
Well, against the West Indies, I mean, okay, they're a completely different attack to what the Australians had. But, Guptill went after bang, 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 and then that catch by Jason Holder, he only made 13. So he went early, and then Guptill steadied things. He steadied things, and he got to his 100, I think, off 150 balls, and then accelerated because he'd set the foundation.
But it was also a final, Tony. I think that's the game against Australia. The crucial difference is that it was a final.
The crucial difference is the bowling.
Yeah, okay.
The bowling.
So don't devalue bowling.
Right. And we didn't have what we really should have had. Taylor bowled really well. Kemar Roach, I'm not sure if he was not fully fit or what, but we didn't have the thrust. Taylor bowled beautifully, and I'm glad to see that because the England are coming here now, and he looks to be back to his best. But we don't have that thrust.
Now we saw a very good innings by Grant Elliott. He picked up from Kane Williamson's failures. Kane Williamson had a bit of a pyramid of a World Cup. He started with big fat scores and then it just dissipated. So Elliott batted well, and when Australia had to bat Steve Smith, he is such a brilliant player. I now see how people in the 80s and fans in the 80s and 90s to a less extent used to love to come to England ground and love to see Viv Richards bat, but still want England to win. Because that's how I feel about Steve Smith when I see him bat. I wanna watch him, although if he's playing West Indies, I want the West Indies to win. But he's such a good cricketer, Tony.
I understand to an extent your analogy with Richards. As far as Steve Smith is concerned, different of a batsman, but still they succeed and make plenty of runs. Coming into that final, he really hadn't made all that many runs in the World Cup, because he didn't have much chance. He made his runs in the Test matches against India.
Yes.
And then he had lost his place in the one days against India. So then he came in and that tremendous 100. He had top of his form, absolute top of his form, and batting at number 3, being put up there, and I believe he will remain at number 3 all the way through in Test and one days as well. But as you say, he's watchable. He really is very watchable.
what do you think about the retirement of Michael Clarke? I mean, this is a grand send-off for him.
Yeah. He's one-day international captain. He's had problems with his back and his hamstring and what have you. And he's decided not to play any more one-day internationals. Quite the opposite to Chris Gayle. But Chris Gayle's back is giving him a problem and something else is giving him a problem physically. So he quits Test cricket to concentrate on one-day internationals because he doesn't believe that he can really exist through a 5-day Test match.
Yeah.
Which may become a 4-day Test match if
Mr. Graves has his Mr. Graves has his way
as well. But Grant Elliott, here is someone out of the blue. Out of the blue.
Yeah.
I mean, if someone had said to you or
who?
Grant Elliott, you would have to look in the book to find out who this fella is.
That's true.
And then all of a sudden coming through.
Well, the New Zealand have that stock now. That's the thing about New Zealand cricket. They have reserves who we haven't heard about, from what I understand, that are going to come through in the next 2 to 3 years that are going to surprise a couple
when you
of
look
people.
at
Matt Henry. Right, that's right,
Exactly.
Matt Henry.
and the other fella,
Adam Milne.
the other fella, both 90 miles an hour and above.
Yes.
That's what we used to have.
Wow.
We used to have 4 of them, and then
And 5 others.
He
And
may
5
get a
others.
chance. Sylvester Clarke, he may get a chance.
Ezra Mosley.
Maybe Ezra, but they're all there.
Yeah.
And now they're all gone.
Well, they're all. Yep.
Well, we don't want to belabor the point about the West Indies. Of course, they were knocked out at quarterfinal stage, and we discussed that, so we won't belabor that. So congratulations. The Aussies look really good celebrating, and you really appreciate the fact that they were the best team at the World Cup. Even in that game that they lost to New Zealand, it could have gone either way. It was a fight to the end, and that's how Australia played their cricket. So
there was
well
one
done.
thing about the Australians. They could not celebrate, they could not win without sledging. And that is the thing.
And it seems to be pre-planned now.
Yeah, well, clearly what Darren Lehman has said, it certainly is a plan.
Mental
Yes.
disintegration is what Steve Waugh called it.
Yeah.
And it doesn't sit right, really.
No.
That's why they're an unpopular champion as far as...
Yeah, they're not loved. They're not loved worldwide.
No. And I don't... Is it necessary? When you're so strong, is it necessary?
I mean, Curly Ambrose, the great Curly Ambrose, Sir Curly Ambrose, said that he never sledged because he thought if you're good enough, your
sure it's right.
Shine. Even if you get aggressive, you don't have to sledge to be aggressive. So I think that's something that the Aussies might want to take a look at.
I just want to make a point too with the Australians. 2007, they were even stronger here.
Yeah.
And that's inconceivable. People don't remember what happened here. They won all 11 matches in that tournament, all. They scored over 300 every time they batted first, with the exception of the final, which was rain ruined and made 280 odd of reduced number of overs with Gilchrist getting 100. They never lost more than 6 wickets in any innings. They won by over 200 runs in three matches. I mean, and then they lost.
Are amazing.
They then lost Gilchrist, McGrath, Mike Hussey, Simons. Warren wasn't here then.
Warren wasn't here then, yeah.
So then they lost key players and they went right down. They didn't even make the semi-final in 2011.
And then...
So for them now to rise up again just shows...
It's a scary thing.
Planning and commitment of the players. They're all fit. They all ensure that they're fit, else somebody else will come in. Yeah.
All right. So, Australia winning their 5th Cricket World Cup, and congratulations to them. Perhaps I should I show you what they've received. Of course, they received the bigger one to this.
Should we say the real one?
Should we give this to the president? Is it of
Mustafa?
the ICC?
Right, he was. He's quit now.
He's quit. Yeah.
All right. All jokes aside, when we come back, the Pepsi IPL starts, of course, in India. KKR are playing against Mumbai Indians, and that's on Wednesday. Live coverage on Digicel Sportsmax. When we come back, we can look at the West Indians involved in that tournament. Don't move a muscle.
Across the Caribbean, more people are placing their trust in Massey United Insurance for the protection of the things that are important to them, their homes, businesses, and their prized possessions. That's because Massey United Insurance offers excellent general insurance coverage to help you manage whatever life sends your way. Our cadre of well-reputed agencies and trained insurance professionals are always ready to provide you with sound advice and prompt service. Choose the security and sound strength that is Massey United Insurance.
So we're back on Digicel Sportsmax here for Mass United Insurance's Line and Length. The Pepsi IPL, the tournament that everyone hates to love or loves to hate. Perhaps if you ask Jonathan Agnew, he might tell you that he loves to hate it. I personally hate to not love the IPL. I love the IPL cricket.
In other words, you hate to miss it.
I hate to miss it.
I'll tell you who loves it. Chris Gayle, Dwayne Smith,
Dwayne Bravo, Darren Sammy,
Andrea Russell.
Tyron Pollard.
They love it.
They love
But
it.
let's get started there. Chris Gayle, playing again for the RCB. What kind of season you expect from him, based on the fact, Tony, that he's having these chronic back problems that seem to be getting worse?
Yeah, he didn't have a good season last year.
No.
And he comes back now a year later with these problems, as you say. He's missed 4 or 5 test matches for the West Indies. They missed some more now. And, you know, the thing is with the IPL, you're not looking for singles, certainly he isn't. You know, he's in sixes.
4s and 6s.
Right, but
that's how they batted the Nets.
Yeah. So whether he can remain fit all the way through, I think that's
the main thing.
The main thing. But he's very, very popular, as you know, in India especially. But virtually all over the world, he's a superstar.
Yeah. Now, Sunil Narine, all eyes will be on him for the main reason that in the last international tournament he would have played in, he got called for throwing. And mind you, he did play in the National Super 50, but I think the rules are a bit more lenient. But the umpires are going to be watching him. What kind of mood do you think Narine is going to be in? Do you think he's going to be a bit defensive with his bowling based on the fact he knows he's being watched?
Well, he didn't go to the World Cup because he said he wasn't satisfied that everything is right with his action. He'd worked on it and he got it almost correct, but he still wasn't happy. This is what he said for the reason of pulling out of the World Cup. So when he goes now to the IPL, I think he'll have the support, and we know that as well, of the Kolkata Knight Riders, and they're a powerful entity, very powerful. So they call the shots, and I don't believe they can influence the umpires because they're international umpires.
Yes.
So
ICC accredited.
and they reported him last time.
What of our local boy, Tony? What of Dwayne Smith? His performances at the World Cup certainly were very disappointing, but he's done well in the IPL, particularly in the last 2 years. Your thoughts on Dwayne Smith in 2015?
Well, Dwayne Smith is about twice the man he used to be. I mean, you know, you can look at Dwayne Smith and say, he's not fit. He's not fit enough. He's not fit enough to be an international professional athlete. When you remember when Dwayne Smith started, and the first, all the way through his career until very recently, he was the fittest man in the West Indies squad, in any squad he played in. Very, very fast on the outfield, brilliant in the outfield, and a good strike of the ball. He had developed his batting so he could stroke it through the offside, where everything was mainly leg side before. So his batting had developed, and he really looked forward to him in the World Cup to have a better return. And I think, certainly I was very disappointed to see the condition he was in.
Well, and I think all of us were, and now we are heading to the IPL, and certainly this is perhaps his last chance, because the IPL is very unforgiving. If you don't deliver, that's the end of you.
Yeah, true.
Now, Darren Sammy playing for a new franchise this year. He's left. Well, I would say he's left. So Risers have left him, and he's now with RCB. It's RCB, is it? Yes. How do you expect him to perform there?
Well, he's a good T20 player. I mean, you know, very few strike the ball as firmly and as cleanly as he does. And his bowling has gone off a bit. You know, but you wouldn't take him off after 1 over in a World Cup match, would you?
Well, only if you're Jason Holder. And then smile.
Yeah. But I mean, you know, he is a good T20 player, and he's committed as well. I think he'll do well.
Yeah. All right. We look at now Andre Russell. Andre Russell has done well playing for these teams. Not so consistent for the West Indies.
When he's on top,
he's awesome.
Oh, so I mean, you know, he's the kind of fella you want to be performing on a regular basis, with his bowling, his batting, his fielding, all round. But then one match you get that, next match you get
just nothing.
Yeah.
His knees have, in defense of him, his knees have given him a bit of a problem.
Right,
But Tony, what you just said about Andre Russell perhaps can be said about nearly all of our players, and if we go to Karen Pollard now, once again in and out performances. He's played one game for Trinidad in the regional 4-day.
But I think Karen Pollard, out of all of the IPL cricket, has been the most consistent playing IPL cricket out of all the West Indians.
Right, probably has been,
not
but
really
not
failed for Mumbai Indians.
But he's not done that as well for the West Indies.
No, he has not. He's been
Tony, Karen Pollard once again. Obviously, you mentioned Chris Gayle as being one of the most popular guys around the IPL.
Yeah.
I think Pollard is right up there as well. Up there.
He had made his reputation early on.
Very early.
Now you'll have to continue.
Enhance it,
As soon as you start to fail, somebody else will come in and take your place in the public's estimation. So, if you say Dwayne Smith with this season, they'll be looking at Pollard as well. But
I think he's a bit younger though, and he remains extremely fit. If we talk about fitness and some of the catches that he's taken in the IPL, I think his fielding comes in and gives you perhaps a little more than one over.
Right. What I was disappointed in, as far as the IPL players were concerned, is that they were available in Trinidad. They were playing club cricket, and yet did not turn out for their country. Did not turn out for Trinidad and Tobago in the Pro League, which was disappointing. That you're there, you're available, and you're not. But
they have said, as has Lendl Simmons, who's also going to be in the IPL, Lendl Simmons, they have said that they're no longer interested in the 4-day version of the game.
Or Test cricket.
Or Test cricket. So, and they're gone. I mean, and Lendl Simmons is not an old guy. But both he and Dwayne Bravo is indicated now, I don't know if you've read it, that now with the return of Phil Simmons, he might have a change of heart about his Test career.
Well, it isn't for him to decide, is it? It's for the selectors to decide.
Yeah, but he indicated he was finished with Test cricket, so you can say he's available. He could do like a Kevin Peterson now, who's also interested in playing some more Test cricket.
Sorry, I made that comparison between him and Kevin Peterson.
But Bravo, we spoke a little bit with Lendl Simmons. Bravo, he's also an extremely key man for Chennai Super Kings. In fact, Mahendra Singh Dhoni said that he believes Dwayne Bravo has been his best bowler at the death that he's had for Chennai Super Kings.
Sure. The thing is that when you look at the 50 overs game, how different it is to the T20 game. And Bravo in the T20 game, he is outstanding, as game with his all-round ability. And I think all-round ability is very key in the T20 game. Unless you're a Gayle, and even he can come in and bowl a bit, but Gayle will come and smack 16 sixes or whatever. But unless you have that X factor, you've got to, if you're all-round talent, you can bat, bowl and field. That's sufficient for the T20 and do it well.
All right, so the Pepsi IPL bowls off, of course, on Wednesday, and you can watch every single match right down to May 24th. What a long season of T20 cricket, but it's going to be live and exclusive on Digicel Sportsmax. When we come back, we're going to take a look at the career of a player who's now going to ply his trade in England as a co-pack player. When we come back on Mass United Insurance's Line and Length.
Across the Caribbean, more people are placing their trust in Massey United Insurance for the protection of the things that are important to them, their homes, businesses, and their prized possessions. That's because Massey United Insurance offers excellent general insurance coverage to help you manage whatever life sends your way. Our cadre of well-reputed agencies and trained insurance professionals are always ready to provide you with sound advice and prompt service. Choose the security and sound strength that is Massey United Insurance.
So we're back for the last lap on Mass United Insurance's Line and Length. We want to say congratulations to Fidel Edwards. He's got a co-pack contract. He's going to play for Hampshire right after he plies his trade for the St. Lucia Zooks in the Lyman Call Caribbean Premier League. So he'll be playing for the second half of the season for Hampshire. I'm glad to see that West Indians, Tony, are playing county cricket again, because the trend now, like we just talked about, is IPL. We forgot about playing cricket in England.
I'd like to see some young ones.
Yeah.
Fidel's career is
Shea Hope will be a good man to go.
There are a lot of them now around, and a lot who have come forward in this tournament, in this professional league this year. A lot have risen. And some of them, the bowlers, especially Dawes and mainly from Jamaica, I'm a little bit disappointed that, you know, they're playing 2-day matches, England, and they come in and play against St. Kitts and Nevis. Here's an excellent opportunity to play some of those players who were not included in the 20 to see how they go against international opposition. Give them a chance. Teofil, the leg spinner from Jamaica, Jacobs, Warwican. I mentioned the fast bowlers.
Yeah,
those kind of
Powell
players.
Powell from Jamaica, who's not playing any cricket at all.
Those kind of players, you know. But Fidel, good on him.
Yes.
Because he's come back. He's had this which caused him real problems. I mean, he's a fellow with 11 5-wicket hauls in Test cricket.
165 Test wickets in 55 Tests. But at 33, though, do you think he can come back realistically and play for the West Indies? Can he get back his play for Barbados first?
Well, he's got to do that. He's got to get back his play for Barbados. But when you see Tino Best played for Barbados this year, and he's about a similar age. Played for West Indies as well, not with quite the same success as Fidel. The thing with Fidel's, not many bowlers in the West Indies swing the ball, swerve it. And he does. I mean, you know, he gets the outswinger, then he can bring one back, and that's what's earned him his success over the years. But he had that problem, set him back, and good to see now he's got a contract in England. Kolpak has to do with some basketballer from Yugoslavia and the European Union and all that. But it meant that he could come and play in England or wherever, and that he could still play for his country, and that's what's happening here. So the Filet is still available. He's not counted as an overseas player because he's a so-called Kolpak
player. All right, hope he is not kept on the ice, being so Kolpak. Corny joke to end the program. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. All right, you can email us cricket@lineandlength.net or follow us on Twitter @linelength. Tony Cozier has been our special guest today. Thank you so much for watching. Of course, you can go on our website lineandlength.net to review our shows and certainly send us a word. I'm Barry Wilkinson. That's it for this week. We look forward to the start of the Pepsi IPL. We'll look at that next week and much more, especially as the West Indies about to play England. Bye-bye for now.